Coleman. I've had the most absurd nightmare. I was poor and no one liked me. I lost my job, I lost my house. Penelope hated me. And it was all because of this terrible, awful Negro.
It was the Dukes. It was the Dukes.
You're a dead man, Valentine!
Welcome, hockey fans, to another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. Surprise, surprise, Robbie is at the boards. I'm giving my man Matt Sinsudi the week off. He's had a hard-working week putting together his video for CZW, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I figured I'd give him the week. It's a lot of work behind the board. So I figured I'd start off with a little line from one of my favorite all-time movies, Trading Places, since we traded places here on the show. And
we did. Yes, we did.
Absolutely, absolutely, and had their the opening music to their very classic, just to tie it in for you folks.
And I just want to let our fans know I am not responsible for anything bad that happens on today's show.
Oh, great, great! Way to set me up for failure. Awesome.
I'm just joking, man. You're gonna kill it. You're gonna kill it today.
Gracias. So how's your week been, bro? You said you've been busy.
I've been busy working with the video for CZW, but not only that, just doing some shooting for a fellow show that I produce for Agree to Disagree. That's on All Noise Radio here at CSB. Since we do record here, we're not on All Noise, but we record in this area. So, yeah, I'll Agree to Disagree. I produced shot some footage for that yesterday with a bud of mine in Philadelphia.
Excellent. So, we love them on the show, and yeah, we're definitely recording here down CSB Studios in Cherry Hill. It's a good family environment with us in Agree to Disagree Radio. Tom Arnone, little shout out.
Yeah, Nick Mazzillo too. What's up, brother?
Yes. Our boy Nick, right next door right now, working hard as we speak.
Yeah, he's working on something for some kind of job.
Absolutely. All right, so let's kick off the show with a little rant that we're going to have on the future play of the Philadelphia Flyers. In case you're not up to snuff, last night they lost a heartbreaking 2-0 shutout loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. When points are not meant to be sacrificed at this time, we now have 6 games left on the season. What was your take on the game last night, Matt?
Well, let's just be honest here. From the beginning of the game, the Flyers at first looked like a little bit of a sluggish start. I thought, you know what? This is no different from any other game. The Flyers have been known for their sluggish starts. Well, as the first period continued to lull along, nothing happened, yada, yada, yada. The second period was when I pretty much figured out Columbus was not only outskating, outworking, they were basically outclassing the Flyers in this game. Then the first goal was scored, 1-0. Then in the third, they made it 2-0. And yet nothing changed. No desperation, no heart, no nothing, until it was too late for the Flyers to put any kind of effort into the game whatsoever. Now, for anybody out there who's going to blame Steve Mason for not putting on a heart-stopping performance, for stopping every shot that came down the pike, wake up! It's not Steve Mason's job to snag games every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
This is the Flyers' fault. Everybody besides Mason did not show up to work that day. They didn't play with any kind of heart. They didn't play with any kind of desperation. Now they set themselves up for a pretty nasty game because they have to win their next game. And their next game is against the big bad Bruins.
Yeah.
In Boston, might I add. Not in Philly, in Boston.
The only advantage we have is that they clinched at this point, so maybe they might be resting goaltender Tuukka Rask or Chara. But if we have any evidence from last weekend's game in Philadelphia, they're going to play it like Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals because Bruins don't like the Flyers. Flyers don't like the Bruins.
And then the worst part is, with all of that being said, you've set yourself up for no room to fail. You have to win this next game, and the reason why you are only 2 points ahead of the Columbus Blue Jackets. 2 points ahead of the Columbus Blue Jackets. If the Blue Jackets beat Chicago tonight, which might very well happen, you are now tied with Columbus for third place, and you have nobody to blame but yourselves for making that stupid of a mistake. Now, I understand. You faced a couple of rough teams. You had to face Boston, and you had to face St. Louis. I get it. They're not easy teams.
Yeah.
But let's be completely honest here.
Well, the past 12 games have been rough for them.
Oh, no, I get that. And I understand that. And you played well during that stretch. But here's the thing. When you face a team like Columbus, this is a team that's below you in the standings. I don't give a shit what kind of hockey they're playing. You beat this team. I don't care. You beat this team and you send them home like the little snot shits that they are.
Yeah.
You beat the shit out of them.
And if anything, it was reversed. They sent the Flyers home like the snot shits that they are.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Bobrovsky shutting down the Flyers. The Flyers did put 33 shots on goal, but a lot of them lacked that pace. They were just, let's get it on net. They got outworked, out-hustled by a younger Columbus team that's fast. They love to forecheck hard, and it was almost flashes of the Devils trapping us in our own zone. I was getting that frustration
Are you really
building
going to
again.
bring that one back up?
Yeah, well, that's what it felt like last night.
Yeah, true.
We couldn't get out of the Flyers couldn't get out of the neutral zone with any consistency. Our power play just at home is absolute dog shit.
It is. And the worst part is that they didn't even get a shot on net during their power plays.
Yeah.
Not one. That's pathetic. Yeah. You are a man up. You need to score. That was your chance to tie the game.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing?
Absolutely.
Can you play this game, or were you trying to lose on purpose?
Well, it ties back to the game on Sunday against Boston. We were up 5-on-3 in that game with a chance to tie the score, and they looked horrible. But yet on the road, their power play is fantastic.
I know.
It can't be explained. I mean, maybe the crowd's getting on them to shoot a little more. They're trying to put on a show for the fans. But you know what? It's all about winning hockey games, and they're just not doing it right now.
At this point, if the desperation wasn't there in this game, and that scares the hell out of me, because you need this desperation. You are not secured in the playoffs. Maybe 2-3 seasons ago, you could rewind this and we're well safe, and we've clinched a playoff spot by now. But not this year. This year, the Metropolitan has sucked so bad. It is as bad as a Thai hooker it's been sucking. And at the same time, everybody can still make the playoffs. This is not a time to let points go to waste. You need all the points you can get. Columbus is a desperate hockey team. They know very well they're tied with Toronto for that last wild card spot. They know this beyond a shadow of a doubt. So therefore, that means they're going to try and get as many wins as possible. The Flyers have to play the same way. Yes, Columbus isn't a threat to them at the moment, but they will be if they win this game tonight. So, I mean, am I wrong or am I wrong here? Seriously.
You're absolutely correct. The Flyers offense has just gone in a doldrum right now. They have 0 goals in the last 130 minutes of play.
This is not all their fault, though.
Yeah.
Miller did a great job on them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with what they played against St. Louis. They showed that they had the heart and the passion against St. Louis in St. Louis.
Right.
They were competitive.
Oh, yeah.
But it was the shame of the matter when they came back home, they let Bobrovsky stone them. Yeah. And then they let Columbus intimidate them.
Yeah. And Bobrovsky celebrated so hard coming back against his former team and pitching a shutout. I am happy for Bob out there. But,
I'm not.
I know he's on the enemy, but I've always been a fan of Sergei Bobrovsky. But
he's dead to me.
What I'm most pissed about right now is that the Flyers are really blowing my mid-season prediction that I made on the aforementioned Agree to Disagree that we would have 6 20-goal scorers on this team, and it was looking like that was a shoo-in a week ago. Now I don't know quite so much.
Well, I mean, that's a hard thing to do, is to get 6 20-goal scores, but the Flyers do make it look easy.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, is that the Flyers, I'm not worried about their offense disappearing. I think they're going to get one of those games where they're going to get kicked in the ass and they're going to say to themselves, wow, we didn't score in the last 2 games. We got to score tonight.
Right.
Even if we lose, we're scoring tonight. It's as simple as that. You know, if we're going down, we're going out in a blaze of glory. That's how it's going to have to be.
Well, that's how you play do or die hockey.
Yeah.
And they were playing that earlier on this 12-game streak of really tough matchups, over 600 winning percentage teams, but they have not gotten it done the past week. So now with 6 games left to go, it's do or die time. And this weekend's game against Boston is a must-win, as you told me previous to the show. I couldn't agree with you more.
It is. They've put themselves in this spot where they cannot lose this game. They have to win.
And that's a lot to ask, going up to Boston against a team that's the class of the East. And take that game. The only saving grace we may have is if at this point they have everything clinched, so maybe they sit a Rask or a Zdeno Chara.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be coming down to the Flyers have got to have that heart and that desire going into Boston. They've got to look into the Bank North Gardens, and they got to say to themselves, we're winning. They've just got to have that swagger about them where it's just like, we're winning. It's as simple as that. They can't walk in there like the normal Flyers and say, okay, let's give this as best a try as we can, and we may or may not win. Because that's usually how they play in Boston. Where it's just like, we get a couple of goals, we had a good day, but we're probably still going to lose in Boston. Like, no, that's not acceptable. Go big or go home now. That's the way. Put up or shut up. That's basically the way it's got to be.
It's got to be that way at this point. And luckily on their schedule, they have games next week against Florida and Buffalo, teams that they should get those games. But I'm actually more nervous about those games than the Boston game because quite often that's when you don't see the Flyers show up.
Well, the question is, though, I think maybe this might be the luck. This might be in an odd way a blessing in disguise, and the reason why is this allows them to reinvigorate themselves on the road against Boston, and then when they go up against Buffalo and Florida, they know that those are 4 points that they must have. And so I think they'll play with a little bit more desperation.
Yeah.
I think them losing to Columbus might just be a blessing in disguise. I would prefer that it would not have to come to that for them to wake up. But if this is what they need to wake up and realize, oh, wait a minute, shit, we're not secure in the playoffs. Yeah, no shit, jackass. Yeah, you need to keep winning. And so hopefully this might be that, hey, we didn't actually get a win for the last 3 games. We took 2 overtime losses, which got us a point.
Right.
We need to win this game in Boston. I don't care what the sacrifice, we got to get this win. If we got to take 2 injuries, I'm sorry. You got to take 2 injuries. Get the points and get the win.
Well, you got to stay healthy for the playoffs, but you know what? If you don't get the points, then you don't make the playoffs.
Then you don't even make the playoffs.
Point heard, brother.
And then Paul Holmgren gets thrown out a plate glass window, which I would love to see.
Is that like stuntman shatter glass?
Yes.
Or straight up glass, so he cuts his face?
Oh, no, straight up glass. I want his ass cut.
Hey, I'm a big fan of Homie these days. He's really doing a good job.
Not.
Homer is definitely scouting this NCAA tournament well, and as we saw previous to the show too, one of the men that he signed, Gausman, getting his first goal for the Phantoms. Congratulations, Gumas. Sorry, Gausman. So
that's an interesting name, Gausman.
It's Kevin Gausman.
I thought it was Kevin Gumas.
Kevin Gumas.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I'm just learning about this player.
Goumas.
All right.
His last name.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I won't forget that again.
Awesome.
But yeah, seeing him score that first goal for the Phantoms and doing the Briere fist pump, that was pretty exciting. Speaking of celebrations too, and also against the Boston Bruins, Vinny Lecavalier got his 400th career goal. It's been a milestone year for him for both assists and goals. So I wanted to give a personal shout out to Vinny if he's listening.
Out of pure luck.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, he needs to step the fuck up.
He has been, though, since they moved him down to that 4th line. He especially on the power play, he has really manned that wing as well as getting back to his natural center ice position.
I hate to bash on a player when it's his first year. But when he came to the Flyers, I was worried about this. I was worried he was going to do nothing. And quite frankly, despite getting those milestones, he's done nothing.
Yeah.
He's ride the coattails of the Flyers all year long.
Right.
He's like St. Louis on the Rangers.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. Like, Vinny's got to get his shit together, and he's got to get it now.
Yeah.
Because he needs to be a contributor to the offense. He's just starting to be a contributor to the offense. It is dead late in the 4th quarter of the season. And he's starting to contribute, I don't know. That's not good in my opinion. That's not good enough. For a player of your caliber, you should at least be scoring in the teens by this point.
I agree with you. Well, I mean, he is, I believe, up to 17 goals right now on the season. But it's been a lot of patchwork, and this late season rush that he's on is encouraging to see. We might have Danny Briere reincarnated where he's turning it on right at the right time of the season. That's what my hope is.
I hope. But I mean, I really do hope because, I mean, Lecavalier is not Briere.
Right.
That's as simple as that.
All right, well, let's move on from the Flyers, because a lot of other hockey fans listen to this show. We don't want to bore you to death or get you to change.
I forgot. There are other teams in the NHL. I forgot about this. Yeah.
So a little news and notes from around the league. The 3 stars from last week were Kyle Turris, Patrice, not Pierre, as I referred to him on the last show. I got to get my
Did you say
name.
Pierre?
I said Pierre Bergeron on
How the hell did I miss that?
You want to know why? You want to know why? Because Pierre Maguire sucks his, you know what, so much that I could. So anyway.
Oh yeah, that game. Oh man, I wanted to smack that smug look off of Pierre Maguire's face because he was upping him all the time. Be like, are you two secretly having an affair? Because like I mean it, and I hate to say this, but there's a fine line between being appreciative and hyping a player up and kissing his ass.
Right.
And that's exactly what Pierre Maguire's saying. Oh my God, Pierre Maguire. Oh my God, he's so freaking hot. Oh my God, he's so great. Oh my God, would you just unzip and get it over with, Pierre? Like, Jesus. Somebody get this man a freaking wet nap and a freaking bed because this man's done for the day. He is done. I just wanted to smack that smug little bitch. Like, seriously. Screw you, Pierre Maguire. You are pathetic. You gave no praise to the Flyers, even though the Flyers were as competitive as the Bruins were in the entire game. Oh, but Jesus Christ, Patrice Bergeron couldn't do anything wrong. And I know I'm quoting Tom Arnaud and agree to disagree, but that's exactly what Pierre Maguire was like that whole game. I just wanted to smack that smug son of a bitch. I really did. At least Emmerich and Eddie Olczyk kept it unbiased here.
Oof.
You know?
Wow.
At least. And I know I'm saying a lot with Eddie Olczyk's keeping it unbiased. And Doc Emmerich usually does. We usually don't have to worry about that from him. But Pierre, oh my God, Pierre was horrible. He was kissing the Bruins' ass all up and down.
Man, you have had a rough week, man. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed. You are just
No,
pissed off and angry.
I'm just calling it like I see it. And you can't tell me that Pierre Maguire wasn't kissing the Bruins' asses all day long.
I'm not disagreeing with your point.
He had his lips stuck to their asses. It was concrete stuck to their asses.
Right on, brother. Well, all right, so getting back to the stars of the week last week, Kyle Turris, Patrice Bergeron, and Mr. Shootout, TJ Oshie for that dynamic St. Louis Blues front line. That line has just been dominating. For the month of March, the 3 stars were released as well, and there's no surprise here what men fall on this list. Number 1 is Jerome McGillna. Had a fantastic month of March. Yeah.
McGillna?
No, I said Agilna. Yeah, I got that one right. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Iginla for a second.
Iginla.
Yeah, you were trying to say Iginla, right?
Mm-hmm. That's what I said.
I thought you said McGillna.
No. No, I'll admit when I'm wrong, and I'll stick up when I'm right.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Jerome McGillna, didn't he get hurt, though?
Not according to the news and notes that I have. I believe that he's still playing for the Bruins. He might have sat out for one game, but I believe they're resting an aging player for the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
maybe
right,
day-to-day with a lower body or something of that nature. Second star is Gustav Nyquist.
Gustav Nyquist,
Yes.
yeah. He's becoming that new superstar for Detroit.
Yep. Yeah, someone's got to fill in. But I do have a little news, a little hope for Detroit fans coming up later on the show. And number 3, our man, Claude Giroux, with the 3rd star of the March, had an awesome month of March, and really has been on a tear since December 11th, most points in the NHL.
And Claude Giroux has always been that kind of player where, again, he's Captain Clutch. He's been the guy who's been leading by example. He's the guy who's been doing the job that a captain needs to do. And I say this again, here's the funny thing. When you look back at the last 2 games, did the Flyers not score? Yes. Guess who also didn't score? Giroux. When do the Flyers usually score? When Giroux scores.
Yeah. Or when do they win?
When do they
Giroux
win?
scores.
Giroux scores.
Right.
So the point is that if Giroux gets going in Boston, the Flyers have a very good shot of actually getting a win on the Bruins.
Absolutely. Well, it's funny that you're absolutely right. This team does live and breathe with Claude Giroux's play, despite being very balanced across their 4 lines. But it definitely rests on the shoulders of the captain as well.
Which it should, in my honest opinion. In all honesty, it should go and die with your captain. Those teams that ride the coattails of other players, it's not their captain that's been the leading guy. You are a not worthy team, in my honest opinion. You really aren't. Because your captain has to be the guy that's the go-to guy for everything. If he can't step up to the plate, i.e. Ryan Callahan, your team sucks. It's as simple as that. And yes, that's for all you Rangers fans out there. Your team is still bad. You lost. Yeah.
Wow. Until we beat them in Madison Square Garden, I don't think we have much to say there. But
that's not the point. The point is I'm looking at the team overall. The team still sucks overall.
The team does, overall, they have a lot to be desired. Speaking of sucky teams, Buffalo Sabres signed. Yeah, they signed Ted Nolan to a contract extension and officially named him the head coach.
This is a bad idea.
You think it's a bad idea?
Because Ted Nolan has been head coach before, and he made that team horrible. I'm just saying the honest to God truth.
Yeah.
You've seen Ted Nolan as coach before. Did he do anything good?
No.
No.
Not on the island, certainly. The only thing I saw him do good was Team Latvia definitely outperformed themselves in the Olympics. But I don't know. Teddy Nolan, he's a solid hockey man. He might be able to stabilize that organization, but long term, I agree with you. He's not the answer.
He's not the answer. I mean, there's a difference between him and a guy like Mike Milbury. And I say this because Mike Milbury was a long-term Islanders coach. The Islanders were on a steady pace and were actually doing pretty decently. I mean, they were playing on a good level. But when Teddy Nolan was in charge, I don't know, that team kind of couldn't do much worse when it came to playing. They looked like crap, they played like crap, and they smelled like crap too. So you know what? In all terms, they were pure crap.
You know, if it smells like crap and it looks like crap, it probably is.
It's
crap.
your prom date, but anyway.
Right on, brother, right on. Well, moving on, have an injury to report for the Colorado Avalanche forward Matt Duchene.
Matt Duchene is a tough loss for that Avalanche team. I still believe that they've got enough to take the loss, but I still think that is such a huge loss for their offense because Duchene is their leader in the locker room in a lot of ways. I mean, yes, Stastny might be their captain, but in all honesty, and I do believe Stastny is their captain, Duchene is he's their goal scorer. He's the guy they go to for, we need this goal scored. And Duchene's the guy that's like their Danny Briere. He's going to get that goal. He's a tough loss to take, but I do think Colorado can afford to take this loss at the moment. Only for a period of time. He's got to be back, though, before the playoffs.
Well, what they're estimating right now is that he's going to miss 4 weeks, including the first round of the playoffs.
Well, the fact that they're facing Chicago is a blessing in disguise then, because they really own Chicago all year. So I will say Colorado does have a decent enough shot to get through that first round still, but they need Duchene back for the second round. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. They're going to be floundering. Also, I wanted to make quick mention, too, with the Teddy Nolan point in terms of whether this was the right deal for the Buffalo Sabres. They signed him for a 3-year extension. Too long? Too short?
I think it's long enough.
Yeah.
I think it's still 3 years too long, but still, you know. I mean, all right, here's the honest-to-God truth. Teddy might be able to install a system that might work for them for a period of time, but you can't have him for as long as they've had other coaches. Definitely not going to break the Lindy Ruff record, that's for sure.
Oh, no.
Because Lindy Ruff is like the longest tenured coach in the history of the NHL.
Legend.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, how many years was Buffalo competitive when he was coach? Almost every year.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going from the mid-'90s all the way to 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I mean, basically you had legends like Scotty Bowman.
Well, yeah, and Scotty Bowman won a Stanley Cup with 5 different teams, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But in terms of longevity with one particular team,
Yeah.
it's a rare bird these days and age, even in hockey, where there's a little bit more loyalty within organization. Still, moves need to be made, and quite often, just like pulling a goaltender at the right time, it can really spark a club when you put in a new head coach. So good luck, Sabres, with that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Little happy news here on the Hockey Happy Hour. Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey, celebrated his 86th birthday this week.
well, happy birthday, Mr. Hockey.
And author of the Gordie Howe hat trick, a goal, an assist, and a fight. He never recorded one of those.
Really?
Yeah, but they just named it after him.
See, that shows you how good of a player he is. He has a hat trick named after him that he never recorded.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I want that name. I want something named after me that I never did.
Right. Well, he was so predominant in his day and age, and even still today in the game. So, yeah, this last, I believe it was Monday, March 31st.
Today is March 31st?
No, Monday.
It was Monday. Yeah. Oh. Well, yeah, today's the 4th, so yeah, I'm going to assume Monday was definitely the 31st.
Yes. I'll pull up my little handy-dandy calendar, and it was Monday, was actually his
It's like
birthday.
your handy-dandy notebook from Blue's Clues?
Yes, exactly. Hey, don't let that out that I watch Blue's Clues. I got a lot of young nieces and nephews. But anyway, yeah. So
See, I have an excuse. I was born in 93.
So there you go. So Gordie Howe on Monday, March 31st, turned 86 years old. Congratulations. Live long, sir. Live so long. Another injury that I want to report for Chicago, and that'll be the opponent for the Avalanche at this current state of time, is your favorite player, Twinkle Toes Taves.
Taves, yeah. Well, now he's out for how long? He's supposed to be out for, 3 weeks? 4? All right, well, he's out for the rest of the season, but he's said to miss some of the playoffs, but he's supposed to be back for the playoffs.
Exactly. He may get back around the same time Matt Duchene is, because Matt Duchene has a knee injury.
It doesn't matter. Chicago won't be in the second round.
Well, if they face off against each other in the first round, currently they are 2-3.
For the season record? No,
Yes.
Colorado owns them 4-1.
No, I mean in terms of within their division. Yeah, Colorado's the 2 seed, Chicago's the 3 seed in the Central. So if they face off in the first round, they'll both be without stars to some degree. But here's my prediction here is that you're going to see Taves come back a little bit earlier than Duchene because he has an arm injury, whereas Duchene has a knee injury.
And also, Chicago cannot afford to have Taves out.
No.
Duchene is a tough loss for Colorado, but I think Colorado's youth and depth is going to keep them okay. Don't get me wrong, Chicago has depth, but here's the thing. This is a team that kind of has a jinx on Chicago, and it's been all year long. Now, don't get me wrong, you're supposed to throw all the season record crap out the window the moment that the playoffs start. But let's be honest here. Sometimes the seasonal record does indicate whether you're going to get eliminated or you're going to get through this team.
Right.
It's been proven by facts, and it's been proven and documented by pictures too, might I add, and it's been documented by history. Let's be honest. If the Flyers had faced the New York Rangers in 2012, do you really honestly think the Flyers would have beaten the Rangers in 2012? The Rangers swept them that year.
Oh, yeah.
It would not have happened. The Flyers would have been eliminated. It's as simple as that. And then look at history through, let's look through Vancouver. Vancouver had to give it 3 tries before they finally got through the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks had a jinx on them for the longest time. So, in all complete honesty, I think Colorado will still win, and I think Taves is going to be desperately needed for Chicago compared to the opposite for Duchene in Colorado.
Right. Absolutely. Well, kind of piggybacking off the Gustav Nyquist point that you made earlier, as well as returning players, we're finally going to get a sighting of Pavel Datsyuk this season. He's going to be returning today, matter of fact, against the Buffalo Sabres.
He's been a unicorn this year. He's been elusive.
Yes.
He's had a rainbow follow him, too, behind, and he's been dropping lollipops as he go along. And yes, I'm calling Datsyuk gay. But anyway.
Well, being that Detroit holds the number 1 wild card right now, he may be coming back right at the exact moment, but will he return at his level of play? That's what remains to be questioned.
Well, I think in all honesty, with Detroit, they need a star caliber player, and they need somebody who can bring that to their level. Datsyuk's that guy. He's been that guy for the last 7 years for the Red Wings. So, I mean, in all honesty, the Red Wings desperately need him back. And I think he could re-spark this offense, which has been desperately just been Nyquist the whole time. It really has been.
Right.
And so for the Red Wings, they need him. They need him so bad. And he might just be able to get them over that hill, not in the sense of getting them into the divisional standings, but for them to stay more secure in the wild card. I mean, let's be honest here. If they are to be in the playoffs, it's going to have to be the wild card. I don't think they're going to get into the division. No. Those 3 teams at the top, they've got those spots locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Boston's got theirs locked up for sure, but the other 2, they're not that far behind.
Yeah, they got a 7-point differential between the 3rd place Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, there's just no way they're catching
Not enough
that.
games left.
There's not enough games left for them. So Datsyuk coming back, he can secure them that wild card spot.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Oh, yeah, it will lock it up. And then watch out, and we might see the Detroit Red Wings of old that we thought we were getting when they moved them to the East.
Maybe. I find that hard to believe. And the only reason why is because this is a Red Wings team that wasn't just threatening on one front. They were threatening on all fronts. Mm-hmm. That's the Red Wings we know.
Right.
That's the Red Wings we hate.
Right.
But I just didn't see that this year. when we face the Red Wings, I don't feel threatened.
No.
I don't, and that's bad for Detroit.
Well, like I said on previous shows, they played lost.
Yeah.
Even when they've had a healthier lineup. And let's not ignore facts. They still have plenty of other players out, most notably
Zetterberg, and that's the big loss for them because Zetterberg was their dish man.
Right.
And with him and Pavel Datsyuk, you've got that formidable dynamic duo that has been scoring goals for the Red Wings for years now. That's been keeping them breathing and relevant half the time. And with him gone, there you go. You are screwed because your dynamic duo's not there.
Right.
What do you do then? Who do you go to? You don't go to Ty Bertuzzi, that's for sure.
He's on the couch eating cheeseburgers just like me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he will be returning this Friday against Buffalo. So hopefully we will wait and see where that goes from there.
Should be a win.
Yeah, it should be a win. We'll see. Buffalo could play spoiler. As that's what I'm nervous about. A lot of these teams playing spoiler at this point in the season.
I'm iffy on that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Buffalo's showed more fangs now recently with Ted Nolan kind of installing his system. But still, they still suck. I mean, it's in all honesty.
They have a lot of holes to fill.
Yeah, they might have their fangs out, but it's like two fangs. You cut those fangs out, forget it. They've got nothing.
Yeah.
Really, they don't. Their goaltending's gone too with Miller. So
right. Right, exactly. So what do you really have left? They got to totally rebuild at this point. But I hope, I wish we had them. We do have them on our docket next week, correct? After Florida game, then we play Buffalo?
No, we play them before Florida.
Oh, we play them before Florida.
Yeah, we play them on Monday.
Got it. Cool. Hopefully that'll help. That'll help.
Yeah, that should be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, speaking of the Sabres losing, they lost to the St. Louis Blues last night, and the Blues have now set their franchise record with 52 wins in a season.
Wow! So they're the most winningest Blues team in franchise history.
That is
congrats to them.
111 points. They're 52-17-7 on the season with outstanding goal differential at plus 74 now. It's up to.
My God.
So you got them scoring goals. They have a dynamic front line. Ryan Miller and net. Ken Hitchcock, the professor behind the bench.
Here's the funny thing, though. If you watch their games against the Flyers, though, they were the exact same team. Think about that. When we were watching them face off with each other, they were both going up and down the ice pretty even playing hockey. And both goaltenders were doing phenomenal. Whether it was Emery or it was Mason against Miller. They were both very competitive games. So I just think to myself, like, does that bring me back to, is Craig Berube's system more like Ken Hitchcock's or is it more like Peter Laviolette's? And that's what made me think about that for a second because I'm thinking these two teams are playing the exact same style of hockey. I mean, I don't know. That was just a little quick thing that I threw in there because I was thinking that when they were playing the Blues last game, I was thinking there wasn't many stops, there wasn't many bad penalties. They were playing the exact same style as each other. So that makes me think, is Berube's the same as Hitchcock's? I don't know. It's interesting to throw that out there because they're very competitive games.
Yeah. Well, he can learn from the best, certainly. And I know Berube's been in the Flyers organization for quite a long time, not only as a player back in the 80s, but also in coaching in their...
Berube was a player in the 90s for the Flyers.
Late 80s, sir. Check your math.
Late 80s?
Late 80s.
I thought he was with
90s.
the Capitals during that time.
No, I don't believe so. I mean, I could look it up for you.
I think he was
with
the Capitals most of his career.
I will look that up for you because you're just dead set to prove me wrong today.
I am dead set to prove you wrong, good sir.
You are just in a cranky mood today, brother.
No offense, sir, but you are full of shit.
I'm full of... Then why do you have me on this show? Because I know how to sling it?
I'm just joking. I'm just busting your balls.
Well, you can't let that out that I'm full of stuff. I'm supposed to know what I'm talking about here.
Trust me, if you were full of stuff, trust me, you wouldn't be on this show. Yeah, we only have the all-star cast here on the Hockey Happy Hour, considering there's only two of us. But, yeah, don't worry. We're still looking for our third man in. We had Henry on here not all that long ago. Maybe he might be, but I don't know. We'll find out.
Berube first became a Flyer in 1986.
All right, then.
And played between their affiliate Hershey and them all the way up till 1990-91, and then went to the Maple Leafs in 91-92. Flames for 2 years from 91 to 93, and then the Capitals were the rest of the 90s, and then he came back to the Flyers in 98 to 2000. So that might be what you're thinking.
That's what I was thinking of.
Right.
Because that's when he played, I think, more significant time for the Flyers. Right there in the late 90s, early 2000s, because he was kind of a rookie during those days.
Right.
But I'm just making excuses. Point is, you were right.
Well, ultimately, I wanted to look this up to get to a point.
To prove me wrong.
No, not at all.
No,
not at all.
I'm just joking.
But in all seriousness, Ken Hitchcock, when did he coach for the Flyers?
Ken Hitchcock coached in the early 2000s.
And there's the tie-in. He came back to the Flyers to play a little bit, and then he went off, played for a couple other teams before he retired, but then went into the organization in the minor league affiliate. So obviously, this gold standard was the Hitchcock system.
Because, I mean, the Flyers, when Terry Murray was officially kind of canned, which happened twice, I think. He was canned twice and brought back twice to be the Flyers head coach. I think by 99, Terry Murray was gone again. Yeah. And then it was then brought to, who do we get as our coach? And we got Ken Hitchcock as our coach. And that was when we got rid of Lindros. And that's when our team was basically changed. We had Primo as our captain. Our team was the last chance Flyers at this point. Mm-hmm. We basically changed overnight with that. And in my opinion, I think it improved our team personally. I'm just saying, I was never a big fan of Lindros, being a whiny crybaby that he was. Don't get me wrong, he played great hockey, but
no argument here on that one.
He was still a crybaby. I mean, come on now. There's a reason why people remember the Flyers in the 90s. They love to hate the Flyers in the 90s because he was a baby. I mean, if we had Scott Stevens on the Flyers, we probably would have won 3 Stanley Cups. I really honestly mean that.
Yeah. You never know. It can never tell at this point.
But anyway, moving on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last point of interest that I have in the news is an outstanding rookie, and that's Andre Palat for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He earned Rookie of the Month for the month of March. Been playing outstanding. And really, Tampa Bay was starting to swoon there for a little bit until this young player's play really brought them back up to the standard they were playing at.
That's what the scary thing about Tampa is. Even when Stamkos isn't there, and he's not scoring, their team's youth is scoring. And that just shows you that the system they have is so good. It's just like, how do you beat it? They're just churning out goals left and right. One thing that you just can't... It's hilarious almost to go up against Tampa because you're going to get scored on. It's not a matter of, oh yeah, we can shut them out. No, you can't. You're going to get scored on. I mean, I think if any team's got the least shutouts against them, it's got to be Tampa. It doesn't even matter if they're losing. Actually, yeah, that's a good stat to look up. What team has the least shutouts on them? That's not a bad that's not a bad stat to look up. But if it's Tampa, I wouldn't be surprised if it is because they just keep scoring.
What do you want me to look up?
The team with the least shutouts against them. I know that might be a little hard to find. Because I don't know if they keep that up on the standings for the NHL.
Yeah, that might be. I'll give it a quick look over. At least shutouts versus
Tampa. Like how many does Tampa have on them?
We shall hopefully see.
Yeah. So, this is what we're going to do on the Hockey Happy Hour. We look up stats. We look up obscure stats. Because we feel like we're going to delve into the roots of hockey, into the core of hockey. It's not just a matter of, oh yeah, we're Flyers fans and we don't know anything. No, we know our shit.
That's right. And get the in terms of they have the most, but not the least shutouts. So, yeah, they might not keep track of that stat. But your point is still taken, though. Your point is still taken.
I mean, the point is, though, is that their team scores. They have no lack of offense on this team.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's always a problem. And they can outskate teams, too. So, when you can both outskate and outscore teams, that's usually a good thing, and that's usually a good sign. But like I said before, their goaltending, though, still has to catch up to them before they're really capable of making that push to the cup.
Absolutely. Little hot off the press breaking news injury to report. MCL injury sidelines goaltender Jonathan Bernier.
Ooh.
At a crucial time for the Leafs.
The Leafs just lost their goaltender.
They have just lost their goaltender for at least 3 weeks with this MCL strain, according to multiple reports. If that timeline proves accurate, Bernier would miss the remainder of the regular season, which ends April 13th, and more than likely at least the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs if the Maple Leafs are qualified.
That's if. I mean, they're still on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs now. I think they just lost their goaltender, and they are screwed. In all honesty, who's their backup?
A backup for the Leafs?
Yeah, let's find out who their backup is, so that way we can make a fair assessment here, because we're not just going to throw them to the Wolves just yet. But we will.
But we will, and we will here on the team. But, this is really going to put them behind the map.
They're behind that 8 ball already, and they're going to be even further behind it right now.
Yep. Just how about they have James Reimer.
Okay. Reimer's not bad, but I still say, though, Toronto is another team that is so inconsistent. Mm-hmm. It also depends on, we're not factoring in how many away games do they have, because they're a horrible road team, and how many home games they have, because they're a great home team.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. No, they beat Boston in their home. Never mind. They had played Boston in Boston, they probably would have lost. So, but point is, I think this team ain't making it.
They have one home game left against the Jets on Saturday, and then the remaining schedule is on the road.
They're screwed.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I hate to say it, but the blue and white are not going to be in the playoffs this year.
They are playing the Tampa Bay Lightning on the road, the Florida Panthers, which maybe, I could see them being victorious there. Panthers already eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, but the Panthers can play spoilers on the Maple Leafs, I would have to think.
Yeah, they very well could. And that's what was my point before, is a lot of these teams that have been eliminated are dangerous because, you know what? This is their Stanley Cup final right now, and they're playing for keeps. And that's what's disturbing. That's what's very much disturbing.
But that's what separates the boys from the men usually when it comes to the playoff class. And I think that Toronto, they're just little boys hoping that they can make the playoffs again.
Right.
Because they're not doing good, clearly, on the road, and that's killing them at the end of the day.
Then they finish their season on the road in Ottawa.
They're screwed.
Yeah.
They're going to face Ottawa. In Ottawa, they're not winning that game. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And Ottawa hates Toronto. So, might I add.
Absolutely.
Of course, that goes without saying. But anyway, we move forward.
Yep. Another little news note I want to put out there. Montreal Canadiens defenseman Douglas Murray has been suspended for 3 games without pay for an illegal check to the head of Tampa Bay Lightning defenseman Michael Kotzka during NHL game number 1,135 in Tampa on Tuesday, April 1st. The National Hockey League's Department of Player Safety announced this today. The incident occurred at 17:47 of the third period. Murray was assessed a match penalty for an illegal check to the head, and under the terms of the collective bargaining agreement and based on his average annual salary, Murray will forfeit $23,076.93. The good news is that money goes to players' emergency assist fund. So, at least, when they're docking these guys' pay, at least they're putting it towards a good cause. But, imagine if you were a baseball or football player. That could be in the millions. I don't think hockey players get paid enough. I really don't.
Well, the problem is they put the salary cap on it, and then also hockey doesn't make nearly as much revenue as the other leagues. And it's a shame, but that's the honest truth. Basketball makes more. The NFL definitely makes more, and the MLB makes more. So it's impossible for hockey really to pay players more than what they're getting paid now.
Right.
Also, the owners can't be as wealthy as the owners of a basketball team or a football team or a baseball team. I mean, if you're a baseball team, you are rich beyond all belief. But no, for true honesty, you are wealthy as hell. You got money shitting out gold bricks.
Right. Well, you got to think about how many seats you could fill. In hockey arenas, what a sellout is, maybe high 30s, 30,000 people. Maybe.
Say 40s.
Oh, even into the 40s?
Well, it depends on what city you're in. If you're in Philly, it's the 40s.
Right.
If you're in Columbus, it's the 30s. If you're in Phoenix, it's the 30s.
So let's say on average about 35, 36,000. Yeah, I believe the Wells Fargo can top out at 41, 42,000.
And I think that's where they set the limit at because of the simple fact of it's Philadelphia. It's a market that loves its hockey. So that's why they have such a high standard. I think the 30,000s goes to places like Phoenix, where it may not be as loved. It's more of a passive love.
Right.
It's just like, I'll root for them if they make the playoffs, but if they don't make it, it's no skin off my nose.
Right. Now, opposed to baseball, they're around about the same number of capacity as we diagrammed here for hockey, but here's the difference. You have 81 home games opposed to 41 in hockey.
Yeah.
So it's double. So you're getting double the revenue there instantaneously. And then you look at football stadiums. Christ.
Yeah. And think about how many Canadian teams are in the league. There's only 6 Canadian teams, or actually no, 7 because of Winnipeg,
right,
that are in the league now, and they're bringing in the big revenues because they're the Canadian teams.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Some American teams pull in a high revenue, like San Jose can pull in a good revenue a year. And also, I would say New York. Actually, no, not even New York. I'm going to go with Boston, definitely pulling in a great revenue. The Bruins have always done that. And Chicago's definitely pulling in a great revenue. And, well, now they are. They used to not to when they sucked. But,
They used to not to, indeed.
And then St. Louis. St. Louis is pretty dedicated fan base down there. Nashville's got a pretty surprising dedicated fan base. Carolina's got a surprisingly dedicated fan base. And I think Carolina mostly because of the fact they won the Cup. But point is that they do have some dedicated markets in America that do pull in high revenues. Oh, Pittsburgh being another one. Philly, of course.
Now, they were struggling
beforehand. But I will be honest though, Pittsburgh they do have pride in the Penguins, and they do have pride in their sports team. So I'm not going to ship the Pittsburgh fans into saying they're moody because they're not. Pittsburgh fans. I might talk shit on them, but in all honesty, they're pretty dedicated fans.
Oh yeah.
Compared to some fans in the world, like Anaheim. How dedicated do you think Ducks fans are?
Nah.
If the Ducks were having a horrible season, do you really think that would be any skin off their shit?
No.
Like, not at all. Seriously, they wouldn't care.
You scan the crowds; they're barely paying attention to the game, even during this high level of play.
During that, L.A. the same way.
I was just about to say, L.A. Kings fans are pretty diehard.
I have never met a diehard Kings fan.
Honestly, from what I've seen, both live at games, on YouTube, on one of their biggest fans, with a lot of celebrity fans, obviously, like a lot of celebrities come out to the LA Lakers games. Well, they go out to the LA Kings games as well, and they are gung ho, like on their Los Angeles Kings. But my real question here, we kind of got sidetracked, and I'm glad we got sidetracked because that was a point that I've been meaning to talk about. The hockey players are, on the average, are underpaid.
But I think that's really the main point is the revenue.
Right.
It's one of the bigger points of it. And the fact that the merchandise sale for hockey isn't like, basketball and baseball and football. People will pay $300,000 for a jersey of Joe Montana in the United States. They will not do the same for Wayne Gretzky. Unless you're a truly dedicated hockey fan, you're not going to do it in the United States for a Wayne Gretzky jersey. It's as simple as that.
Got it. In regards to Canadians defenseman Douglas Murray, how much do you think this is going to hamper Canadians' chances to hold on to that number 2 seed with being without him for 3 games?
That's you say that read that off again.
Sure, they're tied right now. Montreal and Tampa Bay are tied at 93 points apiece. So really, they're fighting for who's going to get that home ice advantage there because neither are catching Boston. They're
it's
19 points behind.
It's like the Rangers and the Flyers. Neither one's catching Pittsburgh. So
exactly. So it's going to be a dog race to the end, and now their defenseman Douglas Murray is suspended 3 of their last. I believe they have 5 games left, so 3 out of their last 5 games left. He has been somewhat of a mainstay on their blue line. Do you think they have enough defense? Do you think they're going to get Subban off the bench now? and
it's hard to get Subban off the bench because he cries all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to get paid more. I want to get paid more. I want to be this. I want to be a star player. I want to be the greatest thing in Montreal since Maurice Richard. I'll go shove it up your ass. Like, seriously. PK Subban is a pain. He really is. I honestly, he's a good defensive player. I'm not going to take away his playing ability, but he's like Crosby. I hate that. I really hate that. Enough. Are we breeding a generation of wimps that can't be tough enough? You'd be like, well, guess what? maybe you're not worth that much money. Maybe you're not worth a big contract.
He thinks he is.
He thinks he is.
He's the second coming of Christ over there in Montreal.
I think he's overrated, personally.
Yeah. I mean, he does pack an offensive punch from the blue line. He's got a nice slap shot. But in terms of what you need a defenseman to do, I'd put Bufflin ahead of him.
Yeah.
And you know how
I hate Bufflin.
Yeah.
So I mean, and it's all honesty, and I don't really think Bufflin's much of a defensive man anyway. He's more of an offensive player.
Right.
So, in all honesty, I think Subban's overrated. And you want to know how I know Subban's overrated? When the Flyers played Montreal, he was silent as a ghost. The Flyers shut his ass down. And then the Flyers were scoring every 5 seconds. So whose fault is that? You know, need I say more? And when the Flyers were beating the crap out of Montreal in the last couple of games they faced them in, whose fault is that? PK Subban's.
No other person to look at other than himself.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, you're overrated, bud. So stop crying. That's just the way I see it.
I'm sorry, I was looking down at my phone. Another news, in fact, you had mentioned about Agilna being out with the injury, and I had said that they're resting him. It's a little bit more than that, but in a sense, he basically is, Julian said that he's day-to-day. You know, they asked Agilna, could he have played if it were a playoff game? He replied, that's why it's day-to-day. It's not a major injury here. He skated this morning. It was just a late-game scratch.
Okay, because you know what? I was wondering about that because my hope meter went up just a little bit high when if Agilna would not be playing against the Flyers.
Well, believe me, we shot past that point, and being that I got a little more information on that, I did want to share that to any Bruins fan that may be listening. Yay for you, boo for the rest of the East.
Yeah, for the rest of the East. Well, quite frankly, yay for you anyway, because quite frankly, you're the only good team in the East anyway. In all honesty, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, Pittsburgh has been playing scuffle. They've been playing injured. They've been playing inconsistent.
Pittsburgh's overrated.
Yeah.
They've always been overrated. They win one cup, and everybody thinks they're the next dynasty because they got Sid the crybaby faggot Crosby.
Well, that's why you got to be excited for your team just to make the playoffs this year, because it can be a crapshoot who comes out of the East this year. It really can. I mean, other than Boston. You're going to have to get through Boston if you're going to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, if it not be Boston themselves.
All the roads through the East to the Cup Final goes through Boston. It's as simple as that. It's not any other way, shape, or form.
I'm really glad I took a leak in the St. Charles River when I was up there last.
Maybe that will be the bad luck, taking the piss in the river and letting it know. And you know the Boston PD is going to be looking for you now.
Oh, boy. Well, you know what? If you didn't catch me at the site, good luck. Good luck with that.
It's like I am as quick as a cat.
If any team can make it ahead of Boston out of the East, who do you think it would be and why?
If any team's making it out of the East besides Boston?
That is correct.
Okay.
Besides Boston.
Well, I would have to throw Pittsburgh in there. And the only reason why is because if they run into the right teams, they'll just breeze through them.
Are they going to be healthy enough?
They won't be healthy enough to win the Cup.
Yeah.
That's for sure. They'll probably get the shit kicked out of them by whoever's in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right.
And the reason why is Pittsburgh's probably going to wind up going up against... If all goes right, if Pittsburgh goes up against the first round against the wild card, that would be either Columbus or Detroit. They'll probably get the win.
Right.
Then if they face the Rangers in the semifinals, this barring the fact that the Rangers do beat the Flyers, they'll beat the Rangers. The Rangers are too overrated. The Rangers don't have any offensive prowess. Lundqvist isn't going to be able to stop the machine that's Pittsburgh. He won't be able to. He'll try. He might snag a couple of games for him, but he won't be able to help them win that series.
Yeah, see, this is where I disagree with you a little bit. I think he can. Lundqvist is playing in the prime of his career right now.
I think he's great, but I don't think he's good enough. I think he chokes when it comes to crunch time. 2012 should have been New York's year to go to the finals, and they still lost to the Devils.
You're right.
So I'm just saying, when you have as great a year as New York did, and you still fuck up, I'm sorry, you're overrated. In my honest opinion, you didn't see Quick screw up. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that is correct, and that's a good assessment. Because to answer my own question, I was teetering between the Rangers and Montreal. Both teams have great goaltending, and Carey Price for Montreal and Rangers Lundqvist. And if they get on that hot streak and come through clutch, they could overtake Boston.
I will say, overtaking Boston, Pittsburgh won't do it, and that comes down to goaltending. And I think that goaltending-wise, if you put Rask up against Fleury, Fleury's so screwed because Fleury hasn't been the same. since that Cup year. And then at the same time, if you have Lundqvist versus Rask, Lundqvist has the advantage in experience. But again, the Rangers don't find the net. I'm still saying, I don't care how good the Rangers are. I don't care how great they might seem on paper. The Rangers are a horrible playoff team. And at the same time, the Rangers can't find the net to save their asses. They could barely score 3 goals on the Flyers when the Flyers are playing like total shit. So, just saying, lack of offense is going to kill them.
Yeah, well, we will see how it'll turn out. But that's going to do it for part 1 of the Hockey Happy Hour. Stay tuned. Keep it with us. We're going to play you a little song from Metallica called Seek and Destroy. It's one of my favorite Metallica songs.
Yeah.
And not only to really boost up the energy for the show, but also I heard rumors that we might be seeing a Stinger sighting in the WWE. You're the wrestling expert.
Oh, hell yeah.
Is there truth to this?
He's signed to wrestle one match against a certain somebody who's called the Phenom in the WWE. But I don't think it's going to be at this WrestleMania, maybe next year's. But the fact is, we might just see a Sting sighting at this year's WrestleMania on Sunday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, in honor of that and press box of that, we're going to play a little secret.
Got something I'm going to tell you off camera.
All right.
So,
Good deal.
off mic.
Off mic.
Yeah.
I got you. Cool beans. All right. Well, here's Seek and Destroy from Metallica. Stay with us. We will be back on the Hockey Happy Hour.
the war we will fight.